Aisha, show us your plate stencil. You can see these are two examples. Oh, okay. Aisha did a couple too many circles.
Oh, did I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's okay. Those will just be extra places for Elijah, you know?
You know what happened? I took your metaphor of a clock too far, and I did 12, 6, 3, 2, wait, 12,
Yeah.
6, 3, 8, and then I just kept adding. So I got a little too enthusiastic. So I'm going to cross out a couple.
Why don't you erase 2 of them, right?
Okay.
So total there's 7 circles. There's 1 in the center. This is for the Seder plate for Passover. And there's 6 on the outside, total 7. Okay, so now we've gotten the plates, and we took a basic paper plate and then used something that has a circle for a stencil. So Aisha used a cup, and I'm using a candle holder. Pretty basic. Okay, so now that we have this, just take a marker and trace your circles. Just any color you can use. I'm going to use blue. Just a basic blue marker. Trace your circles so that you can see them more clearly. During Passover, you use the Seder plate at your Seder, which is Hebrew for the Passover meal. I believe Seder means, it doesn't just refer to Passover, it can just mean a ritual celebration. So this is for the Passover Seder. And on this plate, we're going to put little spaces for the different symbolic foods. The Passover story has a particular telling called a Haggadah. And during the Haggadah, it's kind of like a script. You tell the story, and there's different parts, different roles. During the Haggadah, you eat a little bit of the different foods perfect from the plate. So, okay, so the order doesn't really matter, but we're going to need maror. Now these are Hebrew. So maror, which is horseradish, batza, which is a boiled egg, karpus, which is parsley,
Haroset,
which is kind of an apple,
walnut, matzah, wine.
Apple walnut.
Matzah.
Zeroha, which is the marrow bone, and Hazaret, which I need to look up. So in each of these circles, we're going to write the word. Should I spell it in Hebrew or English?
Well, the word will be Hebrew, but spell it in English.
Okay. So it just means bitter herb.
Bitter herb.
Yeah. So there's and each of these are eaten throughout the Passover Seder meal. So first we're going to start, just take the top of your plate, and you're going to write a word, M-A-R-O-R. Okay, that's the horseradish. So why don't we write it in English as well? That's M-A-R-O-R for Hebrew, and horseradish, H-O-R-S-E-R-A-D-I-S-H for English. If you want, you can also draw a little picture. Horseradish is a little thing like a carrot, except it tastes pretty spicy. So you wouldn't exactly eat it like a carrot. So you can draw that, and that's number 1. We're going to go to number 2 when you're ready, and that's going to be Zeroa, which is a bone. Z-E-R-O-A-H.
Does it matter where it is? You're just putting it on the right?
Yep. I'm just putting it kind of at the 2 o'clock circle.
Okay.
And that it's a lamb bone or a shank, S-H-A-N-K. That's a particular type of bone. So then I'll draw a little bone for my picture. Okay. Ready for the next one? Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, now we're gonna do, go to the other side of your original one, and we're gonna do the egg. So right here, on the other side of the horseradish, it's Bexa. That's B-E-I-T-Z-A-H. And that's a boiled egg. So let's draw an egg right here. An egg has a particular shape. It's not quite a circle, and it's not quite an oval. So do your best on that. Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, we're going to do haroset. Now, this is many people's favorite part of the Seder dinner. It's nice and yummy, kind of like a nutty applesauce. And we're going to do haroset next to the shank or the bone. Okay, and haroset is spelled C-H-A-R-O-S-E-T. And for that, why don't we put applesauce? And for drawing haroset, why don't we draw an apple? Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, then.
My plate's a hot mess.
Perfect. That looks
I might as well be 8. I mean, no offense to 8-year-olds. They probably would have done a better job.
Now remember, all of this is based on the Passover story. Okay. So now we have, let's see, on the other side, beneath the egg, we're going to do karpas. That's K-A-R-P-A-S. And that is parsley. Okay. And for that, we can just draw a little leaf with a little leaves. Okay, and now we're going to do Chazaret. Or maybe, no, it must be Hazaret. C-H-A-Z-E-R-E-T.
Could you do that again? C-H.
C-H-A-R. Or no, sorry. Okay. C-H-A-Z. E-R-E-T.
Okay. Thank you.
Hazeret.
Mm-hmm.
And that is bitter. This is, again, a bitter plant, but maybe it's more like a lettuce. So we can draw another little leaf. And what you can write in English is, how about bitter herb?
Is this the one you dip in water to salted water to represent tears?
It is. So yeah, let's talk about the symbolism. Thanks for bringing that up. So we mentioned the symbolism. So now our plate is pretty much done. At the center of the plate, we can, well, yeah, let's do one more thing. Center of the plate, you can just write Passover. That's the English. So first for the Hebrew, Pesach. P-E-S-A-C-H. That's Passover.
Pesach.
Pesach. And for that, why don't we practice the Hebrew letters? I will show you those. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to an N and a capital D and a lowercase g.
Mm-hmm. I can't see mine that well because I put my words too big.
So again, so now we have our basic of our Seder plate. This is great. And you used your Seder plate during the Seder Passover dinner. And we'll start with the bone that represents sacrifice.
So hold on. The word Passover is when the curse passed over the Jewish people. Like if the word Passover means something. Let me see.
Perfect. Yeah, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah. So, okay, hold on. I think it's good to talk about the word Passover because the whole the major Jewish spring festival, which commemorates the liberation of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery, lasting 7 or 8 days from the 15th day of the Jewish month of Nisan, N-I-S-A-N. So it is one of the most widely celebrated holidays, and it's a translation. The word Pesach and literally Passover is what the word means to from the plagues, I believe. So go ahead.
Perfect. And Passover lasts 8 days, and you can have a Seder meal all of those nights to celebrate it. And this year Seder is going to be different because people aren't going to be leaving their homes. So they're going to be celebrating Seders just with the people they live with or doing online Seder meals. And it's a time that the Jewish faith lifts up their stories, like Aisha said, about escaping from slavery. And a lot of these things on the Seder plate represent that struggle and the memory of their freedom. So we have the shank, which represents the Passover sacrifice. So in order for their houses to be passed over by the plagues, the Jewish people put blood above their front door. So this is the sacrifice for the animal whose blood that they put over the front door. Okay, then we have the egg, and that represents spring, the season that we're in when things come back to life. We have the bitter herbs, or the hazeret, which represent the bitterness of slavery. And like Aisha said, you dip that in salt water when you eat it, so it really reminds you of how uncomfortable things can be and difficult things can be.
And the salt water represents the tears.
Ooh, the tears. Perfect.
Yeah.
haroset, which is the applesauce with wine and nuts, and that represents the mortar used by the Jewish people when they were enslaved by the Egyptians. We have karpas, which is the parsley, and that also represents spring. And then we have maror, which is the horseradish, which also represents bitterness. And what's the other major, two major things at the Seder table that we haven't, that aren't on the plate? Can you think of them?
Matzah.
Matzah. And do you know the story of matzah, Aisha?
Yes. When the Jewish people were escaping slavery, they had carried with them the dough, but the dough didn't have enough time to rise, so they had to flee, and it turned into crackers because I think it baked in the sun when they were in the desert, and then it turned, so it's unleavened bread as a symbol of how quickly they had to leave to escape the plagues. Am I right?
Exactly. Yep. And tomorrow in class, we're going to try to make matzah at home. So you can come join us for that tomorrow. And the other thing at the Seder table is 4 cups of wine. And they're drinking throughout the Seder meal. And they're part of helping to remember that we're free now, that the Jews did escape slavery and they're no longer slaves. So that is partially why Passover is a time to remember the difficulty, but also a time to celebrate. And even today, to be continually involved in social justice projects and to celebrate the ways that we are free.
And should we talk about Elijah?
Yes.
That there is a space left so when the Seder table is set, it's a formal dinner, and for some Jewish families, it lasts hours. Our family, when we celebrated, did not last hours because we were all too hungry and we weren't that observant. But so a space is left for Elijah, and Elijah is the symbolism of that is that Elijah is going to come to herald the return of the Messiah, the prophet who will bring heaven on earth. But so there's always a space, and it can also be thought of as a space of welcome, that there's always a space for everyone. But Elijah is who the space is left for, and it's a whole space, a plate and a chair that's left empty for the prophet Elijah.
Exactly. And
a cup of wine is also poured for Elijah that no one drinks.
Exactly. And in some feminist traditions I'm just reading, they also set out a cup for Moses' sister Miriam.
That's right.
And that's to symbolize the importance of women during the Exodus and honor the women's history that is very much a part of the Jewish history.
Yep. So
this is our Seder plate, and you can spend time on your own coloring the different parts and decorating it. And we're just going to do one more short activity. So put that one aside.
Pie plate.
And now we will do making a little basket for Moses. So you can't celebrate Passover without the story of Moses, because it was Moses that helped to free the Jewish people from being enslaved. Moses was born Jewish, but ended up in the house of the pharaohs, living amongst the royalty of the Egyptians. And he ended up there because he was floated down the river in a basket woven from river reeds. So we won't be weaving from river reeds today, and we won't be putting any babies in the Nile.
Good idea. I approve that message.
But we will be making a little woven basket.
Oh, wow.
Symbolize, and we can put, how paper just weaves kind of, we'll weave it together. So You need 8 strips of construction paper.
Oh, can I use regular paper? Because I don't have construction paper. Is it not going to work as well?
I am also using regular paper.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm just using colored paper because that can be a little fun. But you can also use white, and you can decorate it later if you don't, you can color with some markers or crayons if you don't have colored paper. That's totally fine too.
So should I cut 2 of these into 4, one of these into 8 strips?
So it says start by cutting your construction paper. You'll need 8 strips, about 12 inches long, which this is 11, so that'll be fine, and about 3/4 of an inch wide. So I have a measuring stick here, so we'll just get an idea of how big 3/4 of an inch is. So 3/4 of an inch is about the size of 1 adult finger knuckle.
Hi, Carl. Okay. Okay.
And so we need 8 of those. So like I have, I'm gonna do 4 in each of my colors. So this is about what they should look like.
Yours are straight, bless you. Mine are not. That's okay. We are going to accept all manner of crafts.
You can also use scrap paper for this, like if you have, or newspaper even, that could be kind of cool. So again, I have 2 colors, so I'm doing 4 in one color and then 4 in the other. So you're gonna make 8 total. Okay, do you have your 8?
I think so, yeah. I mean, yes. I know how to count to 8. Yes.
So now it says, now arrange the strips 2 at a time so they form an X. So you're gonna have 4 X's, right? So we'll start with 1. So make it like this. And now you can use your glue or tape to attach them together. So I'm going to get my X, and then take my tape and kind of wrap it around. Wrap it around as best you can the center of the X.
I have to go get tape. I'll be right back.
Okay, so that's number 1. We just keep doing that for all 4 of our sets. Now we're on to set number 2. Take another little piece of tape and wrap it around the X. There's my second X. Now we're doing our third X here.
Are we doing all the X's with tape?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're gonna make 4 total X's. You can use glue or tape for that. Tape is nice because it doesn't have to dry like glue does, but it's a little tricky to get the tape in the corners, I'm finding. So that would be the advantage of the glue, I guess. So when you're done with that, you want to have 4 X's. These are kind of fun just like this, but the project is not done yet. Okay, so now we arrange all of the X's in a stack so that it looks like a star or an asterisk. So we're going to place them on top of each other. As best you can. You can use your lap for this, or the floor, or a table.
Like this, Amanda?
Let me see. Yes, exactly. So you want them, exactly, kind of looking like a star. Okay? And
Okay.
now, keep the spaces between each of the arm, the shape, as even as you can. So you want to try to space them out so there's about a little bit of room between each of the arms of the star. Okay? And then you have to tape them all together. So what I'm going to do is put little pieces of tape kind of right here.
Yep.
So that you're taping not quite the center, but just outside of the center. You're going to tape them together. And you might want to do it on both sides. That'll help it be more secure. Again, if you're gluing this, instead of using tape, just glue one on top of the other. And you'll make a stack that way. So if like me, I'm taping. I'm going to tape one side. I kind of tape in a square type shape almost. And I'm going to flip it over and tape on the other side.
Oh, it worked. Look, it's magic.
Perfect. Crafting magic with Aisha and Amanda. To free us from slavery. Okay, so here is your star, okay? Now, we get the piece of paper again. Get another piece of paper, or I'm using the rest of the piece of paper that I already cut off of.
Okay.
So cut out this. Okay, so what we need is we're making a basket bottom. So this is going to be, so you might want to find another circle that's about maybe the size of your fingers, about 4 inches long. So like something about this size.
Okay.
Okay, and trace a circle on that, and then cut it out. That's going to be the bottom of your basket. Okay, so now you have your bottom of your basket.
Yep.
You want to tape this onto your center of your star. Okay?
Okay.
So what we're going to do after that is then we fold up the sides of the star and then we weave them together. So right now,
where is the fold going to go? Over the bottom, or which direction is the fold going to go once you tape it? Oh, in. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So just tape that to the center. This is beautiful right now. So anyway, tape that to the center. I'm going to use tape. I'm going to put tape on one side of my circle. So I'm folding up, I'm making a strip of tape, and then I'm kind of folding it in half. One a little fun trick. And then now you have double-sided tape. I'm going to put 3 of those on my circle and then tape it to the bottom of the star. Or tape it to one side of the star, I should say. So now your star has a center. Looks like a beautiful sun. So this is the bottom of the
Or
baby
the moon.
basket.
I made the moon. You made the sun, because mine's all white.
Perfect. I love that. So, okay, so now go back, get some more paper.
Okay.
We're going to need 4 strips 16 inches long. So if you have a piece of paper, remember this is just a normal computer-sized paper that's 8 inches by 11 and a half. So we're going to cut out 4 strips of the 16, or no, we're going to cut 8 strips of the 8-inch, which is the short side of the paper, to make 4 strips of the 16. So 8 strips, ½ inch wide. Let's get out our ruler.
Hi, I came back.
Hi. So we're cutting out 8 strips at ½ inch of the 8-inch side of our computer paper.
Okay.
And ½ inch for a reference point is it's about the size of this part of the pencil. The metal part of the pencil, that's about ½ inch. So it's just a little thinner than the other strips you cut out. And we need 8 of those. So part of why we're doing Passover activities is that Passover starts next week on April 8th. And Passover is part of the Jewish faith, which is one of the 3 major Abrahamic religions found throughout the world. And a lot of our families, including mine and Aisha's, have Jewish peoples in them.
That's right.
And Jewish ancestry. So it's an important part of understanding our history as individuals and understanding culture and understanding religion to look at some of these different traditions. And doing crafts is a kid-friendly way to talk about religion and faith. So now you have your your 8 strips of 8 inches long. You need to tape 2 of them together so that you have 4 strips of 16 inches long. So you take 2 pieces of the 8-inch and then just tape them together right in the center to get a 16-inch piece. This is what we're going to use as our river reeds to weave together Moses's basket. So I'm just taping right here in the center, 2 pieces of the 8-inch to make a 16-inch long strip.
We're gonna need how many strips?
Total, we need 4
4, okay,
6-inch strips.
right.
So we started with 8 8-inch, and we're taping them together to get 4 16-inch.
Gotcha.
If I'm going too fast for you, you can also hit pause when you're watching this, and then slow it down that way. So again, you're making 4 16-inch strips. About twice as long as my head, or just about as long as my forearm.
Okay, all right, I'm ready.
Okay, so now you're gonna get back to your circle star or your moon star. Okay, so we need to fold up the long arms of the star from the edge of the circle one by one to make the body of the basket.
So each of them?
So each of them. So where you put your circle, you're going to fold up this side so that it's now like this, okay? So your circle is going to be on the inside bottom of the basket. That'll help create a stable base.
I'm going to mute now.
Fold up your sides one by one. Pretty soon you're going to start to see how this looks more like a basket and less like a sun or moon. Okay, so does yours look like this now? Perfect. Love that. Okay, so you have your base of your basket. Now you need to take these long strips that you made. You need to attach it to one of the rays of the star. So I'm just going to tape it at the bottom here. Take a little piece of tape, put it on the end of your thing, strip, your 16-inch strip, and then tape it to one of these sides.
Got it. On the inside or outside?
Outside. That's going to hold it securely as you weave it through the rest of the basket. So it's taped right here. And what weaving is going in and out. So see, we have these different strands, and with the strip, you're going to go inside, outside, inside, outside. I'm finding it easier to hold up upside down, then it kind of hangs there. And you're just going to go inside, outside. And keep rotating it as you go around. Inside, outside. You might want to turn it upside down to help make it a little snug. Stay toward, this is just our first strip. We have 3 more to put on. So if all your strips aren't perfectly even like mine, then you can just make a little bit of a tear in the strip so that when you're weaving, you're able to push this new one all the way to the bottom. Okay, mine actually is too long. So if yours is too long like mine, just tuck it in. And it's kind of going to look like this after the first one. You're going to want to take another little piece of tape when you get to the end and tape the inside, tape your long strip to the inside of one of the rays so that it stays in place. So when we start weaving the next one, it's going to be opposite. It's going to be opposite. So where we put this one on the outside, we're now going to put this new strip on the inside. So start in the same place that you started before. Actually, start one over. So start in the space right next to the one that the first one. This is your second long strip. Let's see if we can get some of this on camera. That's not very good. Maybe I can do it down here on camera. How about that? Okay, so I'm starting right here, opposite where my first strip was, and I'm going where the first strip was inside, now I'm doing outside. So make sure you're looking at where you put the first strip and going opposite from that. So you're going to go outside, inside, outside, inside. Can you imagine doing this out of river reeds so that a baby could float down the river?
And imagine how scared the moms were.
Mm. So outside, inside, remember? It's a little tricky. You can see why doing the same size strips is important. Are you finding that, Aisha?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, and yes, having the same size strips is important, but I mean, this is definitely amateur, and I imagine with practice.
Right. This is just our first time, right? So.
Huh?
This is just.
We're making a basket. My daughter's asking me to do it. We're trying to make a basket to put a baby in to go up the Nile. And my daughter just told me I didn't do it right.
Maybe Layla can help.
She has no interest in helping me, but I would love that. Do you want to help me, Layla?
Are you kidding? I have class.
She said, "Are you kidding? I have class," and I quote. So no. No help from the baby that I'm putting in the basket to send down the Nile.
Please.
She just said, "Please send me down the Nile. Let my people go." All right,
Well, that's
this
a
is
great song.
I know. We're gonna tell that story. This is really hard.
Oh.
So I'm gonna just watch you because now I'm about to
Can
cry.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
This is hard, folks.
This is hard.
So caveat, note to self, I think when we cut out the strips, we should have almost like stacked the paper on top of each other and then cut out
I
the same
know.
size strips or something.
You want me to do it? You're making me nervous.
Yes, my daughter's gonna do it, and then I'll show you because I was making her nervous.
Thank you, daughter. Okay, so I sort of finished the second one. Is this good? You can kind of see my hands.
Yes, that's excellent.
Okay. So even though we're struggling here, we're persisting. I think I made mine a little too loose, so I'm just gonna. If your strip is too long, just rip off a little bit or cut it off, and then you'll have an easier time. You just want to go once around the basket with the strip. Okay, so if you need more help for it staying in place, you can also kind of tape it maybe on the opposite side so it helps the basket stay in place a little bit better. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get 3 woven strips on this. Okay, so now, again, find where you started the other 2 and just put this one in the same starting position as your first strip. So mine started on the inside, so I'm going to put mine on the inside here. I'm going to tape it to the center here.
Amanda, look, Layla did it.
Perfect. Okay, now you have 2 more strips to go.
I know, I'm gonna try to talk her into doing it.
Okay, so start on the inside again, and then we go inside, and make sure it's opposite the last strip. That's the key. Because weaving is a craft that helps to create a tight structure through tension. So you're going opposite so that there's more tension in the basket. Ooh, this one's easier somehow for me.
I think once the bottom 2 are stabilized, it's easier to weave.
What's the age group?
Yeah, getting a strong foundation. So what are other things that are woven? Clothing is woven. Rugs are woven.
I think rugs are the most woven now. And probably still people still weave baskets.
Baskets, yeah. Scarves, maybe.
Yeah.
Some types of chairs, maybe. Or seats that you sit on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this can also be you know what other holiday I remember that's coming up that also has a basket?
What?
Easter.
Easter. They have famous baskets. We could put jelly beans in ours because Layla did such a good job. I've now outsourced my work, Amanda, to my daughter who doesn't want to be on camera. But I'm going to show you her beautiful work.
Perfect.
Oh, I don't think we're going to fit the other one. I think mine's going to be 3 layers. My 4 is
I
not
think
gonna
mine is going to be 3 layers too.
Okay, can you tape it? She said it was doomed from the start because I didn't do it right, but that's okay. It looks really good.
Remember, even though this is hard, it does feel good. It's going to feel good when we finish, and it's going to feel good to have accomplished something.
Don't grab it from there.
All right, here. Amanda, look.
Beautiful.
Layla made it. Oh, God. I dropped it.
Okay,
Layla made it. Thank you, Layla.
Thank you, Layla.
Now we're going to put a baby in it and send them down the river. We're not going to do that. Look. Yay.
Perfect. So I just want to do one thing to finish the basket so it's a little more stable. I'm thinking, this is mine.
Nice. Very nice. And yours is so colorful.
Me and Aisha are the same. We weren't able to get 4 strips. I think if our original strips, if these ones would have been maybe a little, I think mine are too wide.
Yeah, I think mine are too wide too.
So maybe they need to be a little narrower, like more like the 1/2-inch strip like the other ones.
I actually think we need to go to the riverbank and get reeds because I think it's actually harder with paper. Or you know what?
That was our next Facebook Live is going to be live from Egypt, making weaving baskets on the river.
Side note, trivia, I was born there.
Yeah, this is Aisha's
Land of
homeland.
Moses. That's right.
So I'm thinking that I just might put a little tape or something.
Oh, I did. I taped as I was doing it because otherwise it was coming off. Actually, Layla did because Layla did it.
I'm just going to put tape like on the inside of where my top strip meets my sun rays to just create some more security. Yeah, and actually, like we just mentioned, Easter is also coming up here. It's the high holy days for these religions. And this can be a really cute basket for jelly beans, like Aisha said, or we always have little grass. We could put a little grass in here with some jelly beans.
What's our hashtag on Instagram? Is it ESUC?
I don't know. It might be ESUC. You mean our handle?
Yeah, there it is. Found it.
Okay. And I'm so happy that we can embrace this imperfection together.
Exactly. There is something beautiful about that. Yay! Good job. Thank you,
So
Amanda.
Let's just display our 2 projects. Our Moses basket and our Seder plates.
Yay!
We hope you enjoy.
And when we're done with Seder, we say, see you next year in Jerusalem.
See you next year in Jerusalem.
And for us, see you tomorrow during lunch bunch.